Hello, this is Mandy with Scott Leroy Marketing, and today's class is setting goals for 2025. If you're here with me live, you can definitely drop those questions in the chat, just like I shared. And if you are watching this back on recording, you can always reach out to us via email, support@scottleroymarketing.com, and we'll be happy to help. So, first things first, getting into setting your goals for 2025, there are tools within Command that actually helps you set those goals and then also track those goals. And so I'm going to show you that today. First, I'm going to show you the widget that's available on your Command dashboard so you can actually track those goals right here from your dashboard. So you can see we're already logged into Command. And you can come right here to this customize button on the top right. And this is where you can select the widgets that you would like to be displayed on your dashboard. On the left, just make sure that goals right here has that check mark in the checkbox if you do want it to be displayed. So just give that a click. And then on the right-hand side, you get to arrange where that widget appears. So you can just drag and drop, like if you want to put it at the top here, you can do that and click apply. So this puts our goals widget right here at the top. I'm going to go through this briefly with you, show you a little bit about what it displays with your goals, and then we'll jump into the actual goals tab that lives back here under reports, and we'll jump into that in depth and show you how to set up your actual goals yourself. So right here on the widget, just a second, got some more people coming in. Welcome everybody. All right. And so right here on the goals widget on the far right, you have a filter option. So you can look at your goals year to date or month to date. So just go ahead and select that, whichever you prefer. And you'll notice right here that it looks a lot like your sales pipeline on your opportunities tab, right? So it goes through how many leads you have, then how many have converted to appointments, how many have converted to under contract, and how many have converted to actual closed units. That's indicated by this arrow that's pointing to the right between the images. Just underneath the name, it actually lets you know how many you've gotten for the year to date or month to date, depending if you use that filter to see the month. Underneath at the bottom of the image, it shows you your actual goal for the actual year for that particular topic. Like for leads, our goal is 64,000 leads for this year in order to hit our GCI goal. And so our goals here, it shows us that we've gotten 8 year to date. Hopefully your stats are a lot better than ours. This is just a demo. But in the middle, it shows you what percentage of your annual goal you've actually hit so far. So this would go for leads, appointments, under contract, and closed units. This is pulling from your opportunities. So it is good idea. Always keep up with your opportunities. Make sure you're moving them to the correct phase, updating them with the important dates, and tracking your activities with your contacts in your command contacts, like making sure you're notating when you have a meeting, and when you've held your appointments, things like that. Over here on the far right, it shows you your GCI goal breakdown. Your GCI is your gross commission income. That is anything that can be considered income towards you as an agent. So this is before splits with your market center. This is before taxes. This is before any expenses are taken out. Okay. This is your gross commission income. And you have your estimated total GCI down here at the very bottom for the year. Right underneath your GCI goal breakdown, you will see how much of a percentage you've actually hit for that year's goal. Keep in mind, this is a demo. And so again, this is just right here on your goals widget for everybody that's joining us just now. This is your widget on your command dashboard that you can toggle back and forth just to keep an eye on those goals and how close you are to reaching them throughout the year. Now let's actually go over to your goals tab itself. It's more of an expanded version of what we just went through. It lives right here underneath your reports tab. If you're not super familiar with the icons yet, you can always click that red square and it will pop out the names for you. And you can click that red square to hide them again. Here within your reports tab, you have a goals tab at the very top. That's where we'll be spending the rest of our time here in class. And so here underneath your goals tab, I'm just going to go through this dashboard here with you as well about all the information that is offered about your goals and how it displays your progress towards them. And then after that, we'll get into actually setting up your 2025 goals. Since it's not 2025 yet, it doesn't show us these digits for your 2025. So I'm just going to show you here what it looks like for 2024 goals, if you have those set yet, and go through these visuals with you. Do notice that there is a blue banner that lets you know that your goals and the information provided on this page does pull from your opportunities applet, so it may not update instantly. Remember, your market center has transmittal that they do at the end of every month, first the next month kind of deal. And so that's when you should start seeing some really good information update here on your goals tab is after that transmittal period. Coming on down, you'll see goals versus your actual numbers. Now, this is the same thing we were seeing on your command dashboard with that widget. It's just the expanded version. So now you're also seeing leads and contacts, leads being the people that you have not had a real estate conversation with yet, contacts being ones that you have had the real estate conversation with. It also shows appointments set and appointments kept. We'll show you the agreements that you've signed, right? So these are going to be like your buyer agreements or your listing agreements. And then under contract, self-explanatory, as is the closed units down here on the right. Same setup visually as well. It's showing your annual goal at the bottom, how many you've actually gotten year to date right here underneath the topic. And then in the center, it's showing you the percentage of your annual goal that you've gotten so far. If you hover over these as well, like for this particular one that's showing 1% for appointment set, you can see even a little bit more information. It will show you how much of that percentage is made up of listings or buyers. If you have leases, it also will show. And so that just gives you a little bit of idea of the breakdown for your business. Okay. And then you also have some filter options up here at the top. It's showing all, but you can filter to see just your business that's made up of listings and then just your business that's made up of buyers. You can also filter to see this month and this year, like we saw on your dashboard. And then over here on the right, there's a compare option. This is good and bad, depending on how motivated you are or intimidated by other numbers. So definitely whatever helps motivate you, do that. If it seems overwhelming to compare your numbers to other agents, don't do this. Stick to what motivates you positively, right? But you do have a compare option that you can toggle on, and it will now show you numbers compared to other agents. There's several brackets that you can compare with. I'm going to show you visually, though, first how it changed. Notice how our rings are on the outside right here. The compare rings are now on the inside in the gray. Okay. So this is showing other agents in the gray, and we're on the outside in color on that ring. All right. So over here on the far right, you'll notice a field has appeared. In this compare status, you can check different agents against, excuse me, you can compare against you and with other agents in your market center, other agents in your state, all KW agents. And then these are probably my favorite. You can compare against top producing agents, the top 10% for KW, against agents in your own production bracket, and against agents in the production bracket above yours. I think this is very useful, this very last one, because it can help show you how far or just how close you are to making it into that next production bracket. And hopefully that gives you a little gusto in your business. If you ever need to pick me up, come here. Look how close you are to that next step and keep pushing, right? So if you like the compare feature, you can leave that toggled on and let it show you how close or how far you are from the other people that you are setting yourself up as a goal with, right? And so if you don't like that, you can always toggle it off as well. Coming on down, just a view of your profit tracker. Your annual profit goal is right here, and I'll go over these definitions with you further when we start setting up our goals. But just on the fly here, just to share with you what your annual profit goal is, that's the amount of profit your business earns before taxes, but after subtracting like your cost of sales, your operating expenses, your splits with the market center. Okay. This is your annual profit from your business just before taxes. So you'll see that listed here. And then it lets you know your estimated year-to-date profit based on your opportunities. Notice we've put in some great test opportunities recently that has skyrocketed this because we have all of our green bars on this list or on this bar showing, and you can hover over it and see the pop-up that you get over here on the far right. It'll actually let you know we're at 481% on track to hit our profit goal for this year. Hopefully you guys are seeing that kind of numbers on yours as well. You can also choose to see this year or this month, whichever one. And then do know the color coding. Our bar is green because obviously we've hit over our goal or projected to hit over our goal. But if you're not, your bar may be yellow, which means it's on watch. It means you are 80 to 99% going to hit your goal. And if it's in red, it's letting you know to be on alert. It means that you are about 79% or lower for being able to hit that goal for this year. Okay. Coming on down, three more visuals here. On the far left, we have our activities breakdown. Remember when I mentioned your command contacts and your opportunities, making sure that you're updating those when you set an appointment, when you keep an appointment, if you've made phone calls, emails, text, things like that. This shows you your activity breakdown. And you can also, again, toggle it from either this month or this year and it will show you how many of these activities that you have completed and what type. So it just gives you a little breakdown. You do have the option to look at it percentage wise instead of just numbers. So, or total activity number. And then in the middle, you have your goal conversion rates. You can view this month to this year. And over on the right-hand side, it's showing you that goal number. Remember our goals for like 64,000 for leads, contract contacts were 3,000 for the year. And so you can look through this just as a visual reminder of the percentages of how many of those are actually going to get to the closing table. Okay. When they're leads, there's a 5% chance of them getting to closing. Contacts, still just a 5%. But once you start holding those appointments, there's a 75% chance that they're going to make it to the closing table, right? So this is just a visual of those conversion rates showing you your annual profit goal down here at the bottom. On the far right, you have your GCI goal breakdown. Remember, that's gross commission income. It's anything that has been commissioned or part of your income as an agent. And then over on the right, you can show it this year or this month. See if we'll swap it over to this month and it won't be so high. There we go. And so again, just a visual. We were seeing a little mini version of this earlier, but it shows you your estimated total GCI right here for this month. And then below that, it shows how much of that was profit, how much of your goal is your cost of sales, and how much of your goal is actually operating expenses and set aside for that. Okay. Now, we're going to go through again all these definitions, the things that you need to consider when you're setting these goals. And we're going to do that now by jumping in and starting to look at setting up your 2025 goals. You'll want to scroll back up to the top of this page. And for those just joining us, just a real quick instruction of how to get where we are. We signed into Command. We're under the Reports tab on the left. And then now we're under the Goals tab under that. Okay. On the far right, we're going to choose from the 2024 goals. Go ahead and choose your 2025 goals. Just want to show you how it sets everything back to zero here and then also gives us that countdown. This is how long it will be before this particular tab displays your 2025 goals. We can go over here to the right and click the action button, the teal action button that says Goal Settings. This is how we can come in here and set up your new goals. This is the same place you would come if you want to edit your current year goals as well. So if any point during 2025, you're like, hey, I really need to adjust this. Maybe you're projecting even better than what you thought you would, and you want to adjust your goals to be more ambitious, or just the opposite. Maybe it's your first year in business, you're 6 months in, and now you have a better realistic view of like what you want your goals to be for your first year. So you want to come in and adjust these. This is that same button you would click, okay? At any point that you want to edit or set future goals, click that goal setting button. All right. So moving forward, setting our 2025 goals, let's go ahead and click Get Started. On the left, we're going to be filling in these fields. And on the right is going to be your visual that will update with the information that we plug in. I want to show you some goodies sitting over here too, just to help you through this process before we start filling in the fields. Notice at the top that we're going to go through setting our goals, setting our conversion rates, and then reviewing our goals before we finalize them. In these visuals as well, very similar to what we were just seeing on the goals tab, we get to see our profit goal, which breaks down annually and monthly. Look at your business makeup. How much of your business do you think is going to be listings versus buyers versus leases? Or what your goal is for that. Maybe you're wanting to shift your business to be more listings than buyers or vice versa. And then average commission per unit is down here as well, just to give you a visual. But over here on the right, for your GCI breakdown, you can actually hover over these terms and it will give you the definitions. And so this is what I really wanted to show you before we get started here. This goes over what that GCI really is, what your profit goal is, cost of sales and operating expenses. So let's go through those briefly together, just so everybody has a ballpark understanding. Okay. And so with annual estimated GCI being gross commission income, you'll see that black bar highlighted right here. If I move my mouse, it disappears. So I'm keep my mouse where it is, but hopefully you can see that black bar that has appeared underneath the visual, the circle. And so it says all income generated from residential home sales, leases, referral splits, and transaction fees. So that is your GCI. It's all income. Okay. All the income before anything is taken out. And this does include your splits with your brokerage or any other agent, any referral splits. This is before any of that is taken out. That's your gross commission income. Coming on down and hovering over annual profit goal, it will give you a definition there as well. Your profit is the profit your business earns before taxes, but after subtracting your cost of sales and your operating expenses. So it is GCI, your gross commission income, minus your cost of sales, minus your operating expenses, but before taxes. Your cost of sales and operating expenses will also be defined here as well. Cost of sales, those are expenses that occur only when a transaction takes place. And so you will only incur these fees when you get a transaction to closing. So, or go through a transaction. So it's going to be splits to other agents, splits to your brokerage, any referral fees, or transaction dependent expenses. I want you to think like when you have a listing, this is the cost of the listing photography. MLS dues would also, well, let me take out MLS dues. This is transactional, so it would be like your listing photography, your staging, your closing gifts, anything that you can think of that you offer as a service as an agent that you spend towards a transaction, that needs to be considered in your cost of sales. This would go towards gas money for your buyers, right? And looking at the homes because part of a buyer transaction would be showing them listings, right? So think about all of those, and that would fall underneath this cost of sales. By adding that up, it can usually tell you how much you're spending per transaction in your business. And so then when you know, okay, a listing usually costs me X, and then a buyer transaction usually cost me X. Now you can multiply them by the amount of transactions you plan to have in the year as your goal, and that will give you your total cost of sales for the year. Coming on down to operating expenses, these are expenses you are going to incur whether you ever close a deal or not. So this would be those MLS dues, your CE for your licensing, any marketing that you pay for just for your brand recognition, not even just for a listing or a buyer. This is just for you. This would also be like an office expense, maybe office rental fee. If you're paying anyone to assist you, like an assistant or data entry, something like that, that's where these would fall under. Again, it's something that you're going to incur as an expense, whether or not you ever have deals. Okay. So that's going to be your operating expenses right here. And now that we've gone over those definitions, we're going to come back over here to the left and start filling out these fields. Again, guys, if you're here with me live, definitely drop any questions you got in the chat. I'll be happy to help get those answered for you in real time. Over here on the left, let's go ahead and choose the year. Obviously, we're going to choose next year, 2024. And then we're going to enter our 2025. Excuse me, I said 2024. I meant to say 2025. So choose next year, 2025. And then what is your 2025 annual profit goal? So after all these expenses, after splitting everything you got to split with your brokerage, what is it that you want to have as profit in your business? And the only thing that hasn't been taken out yet is taxes. So go ahead and fill that figure in right here. Now we're going to make ours pretty even numbers and just going to enter that here. Again, you can put your cursor in that field and change that number. Notice our visuals updated over here on the right instantly. And then for your expenses field, remember this is the expenses you're going to incur whether or not you ever close the deal or not. Um, Sheena, great question. So over here on the right, you can hover over these visuals and it will give you the definitions. For expenses, operating expenses, it's an expense that you incur whether you ever close a deal or not. So these are going to be things you would have paid anyway throughout the year outside of transactions, like your office dues, your MLS dues, anything you pay with your licensing, like CE, things like that. But then right here for cost of sales, it's going to be the price that you pay for transactions. Like for a listing, you'll pay for listing photography. If you do staging, it's that fee. If you do closing gifts, it would be those fees. Anything that you have to do with a transaction. This would also include your market center splits. Okay, the split that you have with your brokerage and any other agent or referral. You would want to include those in your cost of sales. Okay, great question. So over here on the left again, for your expenses, we're going to go ahead and put our cursor in that field and then update what you want your expenses to be for 2025. And then your cost of sales is the same as well, not the same figure more or less, but the same type of field where you would put in your cursor and just change this amount here to be what you would like it to be. I've got too many digits in there. Let me start over. There we go. Yes, got a question about the recording for this class. It will be posted on YouTube within 24 hours, but the archive is already there. If you go to our YouTube channel, which I will drop in the chat right now for everybody, if you go to our YouTube channel and just look for, use the magnifying glass and look for setting goals, look for our class that was just posted about 3 weeks ago. And you can watch through that recording, and that way you can slow it down, pause it, that kind of stuff. Maria, are you asking about your commission split with your market center? Because that would be included right here with cost of sales. Um, and so once you've entered these figures in expenses and cost of sales, you'll notice our images over here on the right have updated. You didn't have to calculate your GCI more or less. It did it for you based on the amount that you entered for your profit, expenses, and cost of sales. It auto-generated that figure for you. So it looks like we need a gross commission income of 1.1 mil next year in order to hit our goals and have that annual profit goal of 750 before taxes. Now let's talk about your business makeup. What about your goals when it comes to listings, buyers, or leases? Would you like to shift your business in one direction or another, or maybe maintain where you are? It's up to you, but you would enter those percentages here. Maybe you would just like it to be 50-50 next year. Work 50% with listings and 50% with buyers. So just go ahead and enter those percentages here in those fields. You'll notice the visual updates automatically. And then average commission per unit. In most cases, your listings are going to bring a bigger commission than your buyers. Whatever is common for your area, you would just want to enter those figures here. And you'll notice that those figures will update over here on the far right. Once you've entered all of these fields, go ahead and review the visuals on your right. Make sure that looks about right for you. And then when you're ready, go ahead and click continue in the bottom right. This brings us to our conversion rates. Please do not get overwhelmed. This is a lot. Um, but basically, the good news is it has recommended rates that are already set here within the system. So if you're not 100% on your business yet, maybe again, it's your first year in business, or maybe it's your 15th, but you've never really tracked your business and now you're getting more proactive and want to do it. Whatever it is, you don't need to know your conversion rates in order to fill this out. You can click use recommended rates right here, and it will use the preset percentages that we already see over here in the left-hand fields and then also on the right in the visual. This goes for listings, buyers, and leases. This was based on, not based on, this is the same visual that you were seeing in your opportunities tab that actually shows you the leads will usually make it to the closing table 5% of the time, contacts 5%. But then once you're setting those appointments, you have a 75% chance or probability of getting that particular client to the closing table. So these are the general ones that are set. Listings are showing in green, buyers are showing in the orange red color, and then leases are showing in the purple. Okay. If you happen to know your conversion rates, maybe you're just a powerhouse when it comes to converting a lead to a contact, and so your percentage would be higher here. Or maybe you're finding that once you get them under an agreement you have a 90% conversion rate of getting them to the closing table instead of a 75%. So if you're noticing that your conversion rates are tracking differently than what you see here, you can always come and click Set Individually. If you toggle that on, these fields become editable, and you can now adjust the conversion rates as you would like to. Okay, and just come on down and change those on the left-hand side. You'll see them change on the visual on the right-hand side as well. And you would just want to go through each tab, listings, buyers, and leases to get those percentages updated. Okay. I'm going to switch it back from individual and just use the recommended rates. That resets them here, you can see. And once you're ready, you would just click continue. Now this brings us to our review goals section. We can see our conversion rates right here on the left. And on the right, we see our GCI breakdown that we've been looking at. Again, if you hover over it, it'll still go over those definitions for you if you need another refresher. You can eyeball not only the figure that you've set for those goals, but also what percentage of your GCI that those expenses and cost of sales are actually becoming. Okay. Maybe you've estimated your operating expenses too low and you want to allocate more of your budget towards like marketing or things like that. That just may be helpful to keep an eye on those percentages and those figures and go back in and adjust them if you'd like, in case you want to include more in a certain area or less. But once these look good to you, you can go ahead and click Set Goals. This brings you back to your Goals tab. Now, it automatically did set us back to 2024, but your 2025 goals are now set. And when you toggle over to see 2025, you should start to see these figures right here update as soon as you start closing or processing opportunities in 2025. Remember the blue banner, it won't update automatically, but especially like towards the end of January, the beginning of February, you should start seeing all of these figures right here update for sure, because it will be pulling from those opportunities and it will be after your office's transmittal. And so you'll see those start adjusting then. And as you come down, you'll already see your profit tracker showing your goal, but you'll start to see this get filled in once you start working on those opportunities. Okay. And the activities breakdown, since this pulls from like your contacts and the activities that you're doing within Command, this will start reflecting usually after you start recording activities in your Command contacts after the first of the year. Okay. All right. And that is it, guys, for setting your goals for 2025. I did mention this is a little shorter of a class today. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And if you have any questions at all and you're here with me live, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'll be happy to stay and get those answered for you. Otherwise, you guys are free to go. And I just thank you for watching. If you're watching this back on recording, you can always reach out to us via email, support@scottleroymarketing.com. Thanks for watching.